Hi everyone. Hello. Welcome to this month's edition of our Facebook Live training session. Today we're going to be talking about how to be a proactive manager. So we're going to let this roll a little bit, and I see that people are logging on, but I am so excited about this segment today. Let's just get situated here. Hi, hello. Hi, Eric. So yes, I am super excited. This is actually one of my favorite topics. I love doing this Facebook Live, but this is a fantastic topic to listen to. So hey Cassie, so if you are logging on today, or watching this later, whether you're in the car business or you're not in the car business, this is a fantastic segment to watch. And so this, by far, being a proactive manager is something that really differentiates and distinguishes a successful dealership. You know, our team here at Allen Ram, we've worked with hundreds and hundreds of dealerships across the country, Canada, Puerto Rico, Hawaii, and we know, we've got our finger on the pulse of these things, and this by far, this topic here and the things that we're going to be discussing are by far game changers. So let's get right into it. I wanted to do a little bit of research before getting into this topic. I've been in the business quite a while, and sorry, just fixing the lighting here. I look a little too bright for myself. But yes, so I called up a couple of people that I know personally that are in the business. One gentleman, in fact, that I know really, really well, is here, based actually out of Southern California, a really successful dealership with a very successful dealership group. And I called him up. He's been in the business a while. He actually grew up in the business. And I said to him, hey, listen, I wanted to ask you a question. What does it mean to you to be a proactive manager? Now, he is a GM of a very successful Audi dealership here. And, he couldn't answer me right away. He says, well, what do you mean? I said, well, a proactive manager. Now, I know you're probably not as involved as your sales managers or your GSM and the everyday processes of the dealership. But what to you makes a proactive manager? So he thinks about it a little bit. I actually gave him a few minutes to think, and he says, well, you know what? He says, here's the thing. You got to be proactive in order to prevent problems and things going sideways, For example, he says, the lease return vehicles that we get, the guys just leave them on the lot. Be proactive, move the cars, he says. I said, that's wonderful. Yes. And as some of you guys know, we're going to be getting a lot more lease returns this year and the next couple of years, but I want to know what it means to be a proactive manager. So send me your questions. We're going to open this up in just a few minutes, and I want to get your questions here, or feedback or comments, especially if you're in the car business. I want to see your questions. So I'm going to give you guys today three things that you can take away, that you can do right away to be a proactive manager. Now, when I mean proactive manager, I mean in your daily sales processes. How can we be proactive in order to be more successful and ultimately sell more cars? Yes, moving lease returns is going to make things a little bit easier in the dealership, more efficient, make things run a little bit better. But I want to know, and we're going to discuss three things that, and measure yourself. If you're currently a manager, are you doing these things on a daily basis? And if you're not, these are great, and they're simple, very, very simple things. So number one, a proactive manager sets expectations for his people. When you guys are walking into the dealership, hey Jen, when you guys are walking into the dealership, are your guys already conducting appointments? Are people showing up? Or are you reacting? Are they coming in, and are you scrambling to make an appointment? A proactive manager is going to ensure that all of those things and activities and outbound phone calls are happening already every day. As you come in, if you are a proactive manager, you should already have appointments set up. We teach one of the tools that some of our clients use that work really well is an appointment board. And this appointment board, as you walk in, is showing on a daily basis what customers, what shoppers are going to come in to sit down with you to possibly buy a car. A proactive manager ensures that these activities between customers are being done. Now, I know we've all heard of ABCs, right? ABCs, Glengarry, Glen Ross. We all know that traditionally it's meant always be closing. But guess what? Today's industry, we don't have the luxury of having customers and shoppers come in and see us for information like we did 10 years ago. Why? Because of the internet. And so what matters is what your guys are doing between customers. We like to say activity between customers is going to distinguish whether you are a successful dealership or not. It's what your guys are doing when there's nobody in the showroom. Are they calling their customers for referral and repeat business? So as a manager, as a proactive manager, you should make sure that this is happening. Number 2, leading by example. It sounds so simple. It really does. But you know, a lot of us managers like to come and kind of hover over what's happening, hover over our people, keep them at a safe distance. We call these seagull managers. Now, some of you guys who are familiar with Alan Ram, Alan used to use this term, a seagull manager, where you just kind of stay your distance. You might hover above what's going on, but when you notice something that needs your attention, you go and you just kind of crap people out. And so, you know, and then you go away with no real instruction or coaching for that person. So as a proactive manager, you should set the tone, inspect what you expect. You know, you should know the playbook just as a coach coaches his teams. You should know the plays much better than the actual players. You know, you should be walking and talking, constantly coaching your people. You should be listening. Yes, ABCs. You should be listening to what's happening, not just on the showroom floor, but on the phones. You should be spot checking your conversations through internet. Customers are customers, shoppers are shoppers, whether they are in the showroom, on the phone, or on the web. The third thing wanted to give you guys, the third thing is accountability. Now, some of you folks and some of the managers that we work with are really, really fantastic at the first 2 steps, okay? Setting expectations and leading by example. But sometimes we get lost in those daily processes in ensuring that the lease return vehicles are moved out of the way. And we forget that we need to keep track of what our guys are doing. We need to hold them accountable. You need to be tracking and logging. Now, I know that this is a problem in the business, but your guys need to know that you mean business. And if you're planning on buttoning up, which we're gonna have to do pretty soon here, if you're not already in this industry, you have to ensure that your people know that you've got your pulse on what they're doing. We say this all the time. Taking leads, whether it's answering your phone ups, responding to a web, email, chat, text lead, or just saying hello to a shopper that comes into your showroom. We know that's happening less and less, but taking a lead of yours, if you're a manager, a GM, a dealer principal, you're paying advertising money to get these folks to call, email, chat. It's a privilege to be able to handle those leads. So you want to make sure that those guys are held accountable. You want to make sure that you've got processes in place to train them so that they're effective with your leads. Otherwise, guess what? We're leaving opportunities on the table and you might not even know it. So accountability. So again, just to refresh, we're talking about how to become or how to be a proactive manager, how to measure yourself. Number 1, setting expectations. Number 2, leading by example, knowing the playbook, knowing the plays, knowing what needs to be done. And number 3, accountability. Hey, Kim. Hey, Lisa. I Awesome. So I'm going to open it up. We have a couple minutes here. I know I'm running a little behind, but we've got some people asking questions here, and I actually just got someone emailing me with a question. So let's open it up. If you've got any feedback, any comments, anything that you're confused about, we'd love to hear from you. So go ahead and just type that message in. I do have a question here okay, so this is Charlie in Minnesota. Charlie in Minnesota asks, how can we as an industry change the perception of a car salesman to attract more people that will look to a job in auto sales as a career and not just a summer gig? Okay, so I get that. So this manager is asking, how do we get people to become serious about this career? How do we make this a serious job, you know, a viable job for somebody? And the answer to this is, first, you've got to hire the right people. But second, you have to have processes in place. You know, we're getting a lot of new folks coming into this industry, a lot of younger folks, millennials. They want structure. They want a process. They want to plug into something. So make sure that as a proactive manager that you have a process for them to plug into. Setting expectations again. If you don't have any of this, then how successful are you setting them up to be? So, so Charlie, my answer to you is, as a manager, I would ensure that your dealership has those processes in place to set him up for success and any future employees for success. All right. Any other questions? I have a couple coming in. Let's see here. All right, we're gonna do one more. Okay, this person does not wish to be, or wishes to be anonymous. Okay, so this person writes, I believe in what you're saying, but our GM doesn't believe in training, and the culture internally is horrible. We have no work-life balance, and I'm barely making enough to pay my bills. So this is traditionally, this is something that I've heard from many people. I think it's time to start changing the way that your dealership schedule is structured. There are a lot of really good qualified folks that need that balance. And you know, I truly believe, and I think that I speak for a lot of people here who have experience in leadership and managing people, the work-life balance, super important. If your folks aren't happy, they're not gonna do a good job for you. Hi, Barry. Hi. So again, you know, it's part of the culture, you know, and if your dealership isn't setting you up for this, I hate to say this, but you know, there are we work with many folks that are very progressively changing the way and restructuring pay plans, you know, to motivate those folks to do outbound, more proactive activities that are changing their scheduling so that their folks can have a work-life balance. And so I hate to tell you this, but there are dealerships out there that do have that mentality and that culture. So so that dealership is not the only one. So again, how to be a proactive manager. If you're not in the car business, these key tips will help you either way. So it's been a pleasure training and talking to you guys. One last thing, wanted to remind you guys to join us for our next monthly Facebook segment, which is gonna be on July 16th, 11 a.m. And next time we're gonna be talking about sales KPIs, key performance indicators, to measure your own dealership's success. So it's been a pleasure. Bye everyone. And we'll see you next time. Have an awesome day. Happy selling.